Good morning, students. Today we shall be learning about the climate of India, that is the rainy season, that is the onset of the monsoon. The learning objective for today's lesson is to be able to identify the monsoon rain-bearing winds, and at the end of the lesson you will be able to analyze the characteristics of the southwest monsoon. So what does the word monsoon mean? It typically is derived from the Arabic word meaning Mawsim, which means season. So initially, we saw that Arabic navigators started moving in the direction of the winds and they gave this name. Now, these winds blow from the northeast for one half of the year and southwest for the other half of the year. Now, these southwest monsoons, when upon reaching the equator, we find that they enter India to the southwest direction, and therefore the monsoon winds are called the southwest monsoon winds in India, which bring heavy rainfall in the month of June. So, how do these southwest monsoons originate? During the summer, when low pressure is created on land, we find that there is high pressure around the sea. Therefore, the winds will move from sea to land. Now, as mentioned earlier, upon crossing, these winds are deflected towards India as southwest winds, and therefore they are called southwest monsoons. Now, students, you might ask that from where does these winds pick up the moisture? These moisture are picked up from the Arabian Sea, and therefore we find that the southwest monsoon first hits the state of Kerala. Students, once it hits the state of Kerala, only then we know that the monsoon has finally set in. So these are the few points which you need to know, that during summer land gets heated, especially the desert and the Chotanagpur region, and therefore we find low pressure being developed on land. The winds from the sea, that is high pressure region, will flow towards the low pressure region, and the winds are your southwest flowing winds, and they pick up moisture from the Arabian Sea. These moisture-laden winds finally approach the country, and the advent of these violent winds are known as the burst of the monsoon students. Now, on reaching Indian subcontinent, they are divided into two branches: the Arabian Sea Branch and the Bay of Bengal Branch. The Arabian Sea Branch causes heavy rainfall along the coastal areas of the Western Ghats. Please keep in mind Kerala receives rainfall from the Arabian Sea Branch, and it is the first state to receive monsoon rainfall. And because they lie in the windward side, they receive a lot of rainfall. The Deccan Plateau and the Eastern Ghats receive less rainfall because they are situated on the leeward side or the rain shadow region. Students, understand, can we see the Western Ghats over here? So when we see the Western Ghats, the moisture laden winds which are coming from the Arabian Sea, they hit the Western Ghat and shed most of the moisture in the windward side. That is the arrowhead with pink. This is the area where maximum moisture is given. Now, once it crosses the Western Ghat, and you can see this side, there is no pink arrows, right? So this is the leeward side or the rain shadow region, and the Arabian Sea Branch does not shed any moisture after this. Then next we have the Bay of Bengal branch. Now the Bay of Bengal branch strikes against the Himalaya and cause heavy rainfall in the hills of Assam. Now there is the highest rainfall is recorded in Mawsynram, which is near Cherrapunji on the Garo Khasi Jaintia hills in Meghalaya. Now it is also the highest rainfall in the world. Students, please note that Kolkata and all your northeastern regions receive rainfall from the Bay of Bengal branch. Now, students, again, if you look at the map, we can see the arrowhead. We can see the Arabian Sea branch moving up after the Western Ghat, and it moves parallel to the Aravalli hills, and therefore Rajasthan remains a desert. We shall be discussing this in the next slide as well in greater detail. So we can see that the winds are moving parallel, and even the Bay of Bengal branch, after shedding a lot of moisture in the Garo Khasi Jaintia hills, it moves towards the eastern part and towards the Himalayan Shivalik ranges and sheds a lot of moisture in the Shivalik range, And finally, both the winds are meeting at Punjab. Here they shed heavy rainfall in Punjab, and finally the winds, that is the moisture laden winds, move towards the north in the cold Siberian region. So students, as I was mentioning, that why do we find Thar Desert to be a desert? It's when that these moisture-laden winds are moving from the Western Ghat. It moves up. It passes the Satpura range, the Vindhya range, and finally, when it comes to the Aravalli Hills, it will move parallel to the Aravalli Hills, and it sheds the moisture in the windward side of Aravalli Hills. And again, we can see that the leeward side, that is the Thar Desert region, remains dry because the winds are not able to cross the Aravalli Hills, and therefore there is hardly any rainfall, which makes Thar Desert a desert. So the Arabian Sea Branch will move parallel to the Aravalli Hills, shedding moisture in the windward side of the Aravalli Hills, and Thar Desert, which is on the leeward side, remains a desert because of lack of moisture or rain-bearing winds. Thank you, students. Today we did the onset of the monsoon. In our next class, we shall be doing the retreating monsoon. Thank you.